Alright, this is Mag's idea. It's a weird little experiment. That's me firing off a remote mine. And the weirdness does not immediately start. That's remote mine's long cooldown because I screwed up and did not tactical cloak first. And I have a very heavy loadout on this particular build.
Troopers!
So we wanted to see what happens when you use mines, proximity and remote. So there I tactical cloak and use a mine, and it blows up right away. And then, oh wait, I might be wrong about that. It gets weird. Give it a second. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna cloak, throw a mine, it blows up. And I don't know what's happening right away. It takes me a while to sort it out. There's no global cooldown. So I'll let it finish, and then I'll explain it as it's happening. So there's no global cooldown right now. The two powers have separate cooldowns. So here we go. I'm going to cloak. I'm going to launch a remote mine at the Hex Shield. Now watch as the global cooldown no longer exists. Tactical cloak now has one cooldown. Remote mine now has another. So tactical cloak just finished its cooldown. Whatever that worked out to be, probably 7-9 seconds, something like that. Fairly heavy loadout. Remote mine still cooling down. Now I can tactical cloak again. I just did it. But I can't use the mine. I've been trying this whole time. That's the whole point of the experiment. I have no idea what's going on, by the way. While I'm actually playing this, I cannot figure out what's happening. I know now what's going on because I've seen the video. But at the time, I was completely confused, and so was Magnifier. Tactical cloak is back. Remote mine is not. Remote mine has a separate cooldown. And this keeps happening every time I use it on Hex Shield. Now, we didn't do the full experiment. There were all kinds of different things we didn't try. That was about as far as we got. And here I am just double checking that it works normally. So I just fired a normal mine and set it off, and my cooldown is now global. Just as it normally would be, and they both refresh at the same time. It just happened right there. And then I launch it against a hex mine, and immediately both refreshes are no longer under the same global refresh. They are now separated. You can see tactical cloak refreshing faster, and tactical cloak is back, and remote mine is still not back. And I just tactical cloaked, but I am trying to use remote mine right now, but I cannot. I'm pressing the bumper, nothing's happening. Now it's back, and I can use remote mine, but tactical cloak is still refreshing. They have been separated. And they won't go back onto the same global one until I do them together again. It's this weird little thing. Like, I have no idea what's going on. Is this helpful? Can you exploit this? No. I don't see this being helpful. One thing goes on a 24-second cooldown. You don't want that. There's nothing useful here. But it's interesting. What the heck is going on? What are the implications of this? I have no idea. But we ended up doing the engineer as well, the Volus engineer, which we'll probably switch into in a second. And something different happens when the engineer comes into play. So same screen, everything's pretty much the same. You can't do what I just tried to do there. You can't get rid of the missile that way with the Volus. I'm not sure why. And then so some weirdness happens with the Volus too. It's not a straightforward affair, and I wish I'd experimented more with cloaking and then doing it. And I'm going to try and pay attention here. It's hard to tell which one, because he has proximity mine and remote mine, and we do both, and we get a different effect with both, but we do definitely get some weirdness. So you notice remote mine's not refreshing with everything else. That's what I can't sort out. I'm almost positive I am unable to launch a remote mine during that refresh. I believe it is a cosmetic effect. I don't think it's a practical one. I don't believe I can use remote mine right now. Even though it looks like it's not refreshing with the other ones, I believe in the case of the Volus Engineer, this is cosmetic. But we are getting a weird separation of the refreshes. You'll notice that when I use one, only 2 powers refresh, but when I use the other, all 3 powers refresh. And it always happens as soon as I hit the actual Hex Shield. It's a weird little effect. I don't understand exactly what's happening, and we could have experimented more. And I should have cloaked first. to see if the cloak refresh on Evola's had any kind of similar effect to the one that the Durell Assassin's cloak did. But I never did. This is as far as we got, and I haven't had a whole lot of time to go on and experiment further, unfortunately. But yeah, there's some weird stuff going on, and I switch back and forth between the two. But ultimately, it doesn't appear to affect the Volus in quite the same way. And there does appear to be the ability to detonate after hitting it. I don't know if I didn't catch it while recording this. But it does happen a couple of times during the video where I'm able to detonate. It blows up as soon as it hits the Hex Shield, but I'm also able to detonate again after the fact. People have reported that happening. This video does confirm that somewhere with the Bolus Engineer. It does happen a couple of times. I'm not 100% sure where it happens in the video, but I did look it over. It does happen a couple of times. But the proximity mine has a weird effect, and when it goes off immediately the same way the remote mine does, but it appears to create a separate cooldown. But I think it's just a cosmetic effect. I believe that the remote mine is actually locked out under a global cooldown. So it's a bit different. It's a bit weird. I'm not exactly sure what's happening, and if somebody cared enough to really look into it, they could probably do some experiments.